dhambi. Kaza mwendo, haujachelewa bado. Njoo uone baraka za Bwana. Anaponya pia samehe na dhambi. Kaza mwendo, haujachelewa bado. Njoo uone baraka za Bwana. Anaponya pia samehe na dhambi. Kaza mwendo, haujachelewa bado.
Hujambo ndugu msikilizaji na mtazamaji wa AGR. This is AGR Live. I'm on TV live on air kutoka Marekani ya Kati. Nataka kumleta moja kwa moja mgombea kiti cha ubunge cha Bonchari anajulikana kama bwana Jonah Ondieki. Kwa hivyo naamini kwamba umebarikiwa na uko tayari kwanza pamoja nasi. You are very ready to know what your leaders have for you. Kwa hivyo ni wakati mwafaka kabisa na ukaribisha asubuhi hii ili uweze kujua ni yapi ambayo viongozi wako wamekuandalia. Ita jirani, ita jamaa, ita rafiki, mwambie that time. Wakati ule ambao tulikuwa tunangoja ni sasa basi, ili tuweze kuingia moja kwa moja hewani. Haya sasa basi tuweze kuingia moja kwa moja, lakini kabla ya hayo nampata Emmanuel Mabisha anasema njoo tuone baraka za Bwana. That is the song naingia nayo moja kwa moja ninapoendelea kumleta bwana Jonah Ondieki. Haya basi. Naona wana kwetu hapa wamelogi in kwa wingi sana. Bwana Denzel Msuba kutoka kule Suba anasema hata mimi ni njiani bwana.
Wanaunificha mafichoni mwake hubarikiwa sana. Watesi wakija kwa njia moja, yeye watawanya kwa njia saba. Ninalindwa na nguvu zake. Wanaunificha mafichoni mwake hubarikiwa sana. Watesi wakija kwa njia moja, yeye huwatawanya kwa njia saba. Ninalindwa na nguvu zake.
Njoo uone baraka za Bwana. Anaponya Yesu hajawahi shindwa. Kaza mwendo, haujachelewa bado. Njoo uone baraka za Bwana. Anaponya pia samehe na dhambi. Kaza mwendo, haujachelewa bado. Njoo uone baraka za Bwana. Anaponya Yesu na dhambi. Kaza mwendo, haujachelewa bado.
Kumbuka nakupa wakati. I'm giving you a few minutes. Nina dakika 2 tu. I'm giving you 2 minutes so that you can share the stream na ili uweze kuita jamaa jirani na rafiki umwambie kwamba that time when we want to talk about leadership ni sasa. Nakumbuka this is a first political show katika mwezi huu ambapo tunaanza moja kwa moja ndugu msikilizaji na mtazamaji wa AGR kama kawa. Tuko hapa kumaanisha kwamba tutakuwa nawe hivi karibuni. Asante sana. So naona mmeanza na maswali tayari bwana. How comes mnaanza na maswali before we even begin the show? Mambo ni muro kabisa hapa. So I have 1 minute nimlete bwana Jonah Ondieki. Anatoka kule sehemu za Bonchari. Kumbuka this is one of us vile nisema hapo awali, na yale ambayo unataka kumuuliza, anything that you want to ask your leader, na anything that you want to support your leader in any way, haya basi wakati ndio huu. Nataka nisikie yale ambao mnataka kuuliza. Don't ask me. Sasa nawaletea viongozi wetu ili muweze kuuliza moja kwa moja. Kwa hivyo ni 2:19 East African Time. Marekani ya kati ni 6 ya usiku na dakika 19, ambapo Eastern Standard Time ni 7:20. Wale watu wako New York, watu wako New Jersey, that's what we saa zingine maumbile ya Mwenyezi.
Naye atawakimbia. Karibieni Mungu, naye atawakaribia. Haleluya! Haya sasa, Yesu ndiye anayeweza yote. Sikia sasa, watoto wa Mungu.
Onjo, kwa Yesu kuna raha. Ukimwamini utapata
Haya. I'm not doing a gospel hour. Mambo yameharibika hapa. I'm not doing gospel hour na sifanyi morning glory. Sasa naingia moja kwa moja katika mpangilio wa wajue viongozi wako, na this is the first show this month, vile nimesema, kwa sababu ni wakati umefika mwafaka kabisa ambapo we now want to talk to our leaders. Wakati mwingine watu tunalalamika sana when we have that chance tunaitupa mbali kabisa, but now we're giving you that opportunity so that you can talk to your leaders na lugha isikue shida. Kizungu kikuwa kizungu mokuti unaingia lugha yoyote hii ya Kiswahili, kwa sababu we major in Swahili kwa sababu unajua inajulikana kama Wanjare, yani is a metropolitan city. Kwa hivyo ndio maana wakati mwingine tunasema mambo kama haya. Hebu niangalie huko kwingine nione mambo namna gani, ambapo tunaanza moja kwa moja studio kule sehemu za Kisii. Jui kama mnanipata vema, hebu niashirie kama mnanipata vema ili tumpate moja kwa moja. Hello. Nawapata vema kweli. Hello. Ndugu Jonah Ondieki. Good morning.
Nakupata vizuri kabisa.
Asante sana. Habari ya asubuhi na habari ya Bonchari?
Nzuri sana, asubuhi njema kabisa hapa.
Ni sawa kabisa.
Habari za
Arlington iko salama hapa. Ni 6:22 Marekani ya kati. Watu wamelala, lakini wengine wananiambia kwamba hawawezi kulala mpaka wasikize bwana Jonah Ondieki anasema namna gani. Kwanza kuna wale ambao hawakufahamu, hebu wajulishe bwana Jonah Ondieki ni nani?
Asante sana ndugu Jeremiah Orina Ontiri, na asante kwa kunikaribisha kwenye studio zako za AGR. Mimi ni Onkendi Jonah Ondieki. Mimi ni mzaliwa wa eneo la Bonchari, kaunti ya Kisii. Na kwa kifupi tu, kwa hivi sasa tu katika harakati za kufanya uchaguzi nchini Kenya. Na unavyofahamu ni kwamba kila baada ya miaka 5 kunafanya uchaguzi nchini Kenya, na ninawania kiti cha ubunge. Mimi ni mgombea wa kiti cha ubunge kwa tikiti ya chama cha ODM ambacho kiko chini ya mwavuli wa Azimio la Umoja.
Naam, asante sana. Bwana Ondieki, umesoma?
Nafikiri itategemea na labda viwango ambavyo labda wasikilizaji wanaweka. Nimesoma.
Unajua CUE wamekuwa makini sana hivi karibuni, na tumeona mambo mengine, maybe in future unaweza kuwa governor. Unajua watu wanapoanza so
yeah, I have classmates. Nimesoma kabisa.
Hapo awali watu wamelalamika kwamba wanachukua viongozi wanaenda bungeni, hata statement ya Kiingereza hawawezi kuisema. Kwa hivyo hebu tuambie umesoma wapi?
No, nimeanzia shule za chekechea, nimesoma Kerina ELCK kanisani, shule ya matope miaka ya nyuma. Alafu nikaingia shule ya msingi Kerina Primary School. Nikaja shule ya Suneka. nafikiri unakumbuka miaka ile ukiwa mbele yangu. Kwa hivyo I have evidence. Wewe ulikuwa classmate, schoolmate, ulikuwa mbele yangu nafikiri miaka 2.
Huo wakati ukifika unajua mimi na kimya tu. Naona
Ndio.
wengine wana kimya alafu wanasema kwamba huyu jamaa simjui kweli. Lakini naona
Sitaki
wewe
uwe shahidi kwa sasa, lakini nimesoma pale alafu nikasoma chuo kikuu cha Nairobi. Baadaye nikapata ufadhili kuja Marekani kuja kusoma kwenye shahada ya masters kule jimbo la Ohio, Bowling Green State University. Nafikiri kwa viwango vinavyohitajika kwa viongozi nchini Kenya, nafikiri nimepiku kidogo kile kinachohitajika hata kwenye ugavana.
Naamini wakati wenu kulikuwa na picha digital era, kwa hivyo utakosa picha.
Zipo nyingi tu.
Ama zitakosa useme tukimbie huko tupige picha haraka sana kama
tufanye Photoshop kwenye studio zenu hapo.
Anyway, salama kabisa. Sasa bwana Onkendi Jonah, naamini kwamba kuna wengi ambao wale mnao tusikiza, wale mnao tutazama, what you can do, share the stream and invite your friends, kwa sababu this is an informative forum na hapa tunaongea moja kwa moja in a friendly terms, ili tuweze kujua mahali tutakukwaruza tu friendly match ili tujue mambo tayari. Sasa when did you realize kwamba huu mwito ama mvuto wa kuwa kiongozi uko kwako?
Nafikiri ni jambo ambalo la kikawaida kabisa, kwa sababu nikikumbuka miaka ya nyuma kabisa nikiwa hata shule ya msingi, mara nyingi tukiwa kwenye vikundi ama darasani huwa ninapewa uongozi tu. Yani unapewa ile inaitwa like appointment. Naambiwa wewe ndio utakuwa kiranja wa shule, wewe ndio utakuwa kiranja cha darasa ama monitor. Nilipofika nafikiri nilikuwa darasa 7 nikawekwa yule mpiga kengele, bell ringer. Na ilikuwa lazima uwe mtu ambaye unazingatia mida sana, like timekeeper kabisa. Alafu nikiingia shule ya Suneka nikiwa kidato cha kwanza, nilivumaniwa nikiwa nimesimama darasani na mwalimu Nyatundo. Akasema kwamba nilikuwa napiga kelele, akanicharaza viboko 6 na kunifanya niwe kiranja wakati huo. Kwa hivyo nikaanza kuongozi pale. Kulikuwa na unajua kuna ile chuki kuichukia mwalimu akikuchapa, lakini baadaye nikaja kugundua kwamba ilikuwa ni kama kupitishwa katika tanuri la moto fulani ili uweze kuwa kiongozi ambaye una ile resilience. Baadaye kama unakumbuka wakati ule mkiwa pia viranja, tulikuwa viranja pia. Baadaye nikawa kiranja wa kusimamia mambo ya burudani shuleni. Nilipoondoka shule ya Suneka nikiwa chuo kikuu cha Nairobi nikachaguliwa kama kiongozi pale kupigiwa kura. Kwa hivyo kuchaguliwa ama kuwa uongozi si jambo ambalo limekuwa ni jambo la kujisukuma sana, ni jambo ambalo linakuja tu, ni jambo ambalo lipo kwenye moyo. Nilipokuwa Ohio nilichaguliwa kama seneta wa wanafunzi wa Kiafrika kote barani Afrika, wale continental Africa, wale wanatoka barani Afrika kwenye baraza la wanafunzi wanaofanya postgraduate. Kwa hivyo nikawa nimechaguliwa wanafunzi kutoka Nigeria, Ghana, Afrika Kusini, Afrika Mashariki, Kaskazini, kila mahali, wanafunzi zaidi ya 500. Wakaniona kwamba ninaweza kuwa kiongozi wao. Kwa hivyo ni jambo ambalo nimekuwa nikifanya. Hata kwenye shughuli zangu za kazi nimekuwa manager, nimekuwa mkurugenzi. Kwa hivyo ni jambo ambalo nafikiri limekuwa tu sehemu ya si kama ni mwito, lakini nafikiri jambo ambalo labda mtu mnazaliwa nalo. Nafikiri kwamba huo msukumo ama mshawasha naweza nikautimiza vizuri nikichaguliwa kama kiongozi sasa kwenye bunge la taifa, na labda siku za usoni Mungu akitujalia na akitupa uwezo hata tuje kuwa viongozi wa kitaifa nchi yetu.
Wow, ni vyema kabisa. Naona kidogo tu kuna echo hapo.
Okay.
Naam, asante sana. Fundi wa mitambo hapa nadhani amesuluhisha hilo. Kwa hivyo unajua hapo kitambo tumekuwa tukizungumzia uongozi, hatukuwa tunaona kama kuwekwa kwa mfano kama class monitor. hatukuwa tunaona kwamba hilo ni jukumu ama vile itakuja kusaidia mbeleni, lakini hapa Marekani unakumbuka wakati ambapo elections ziko ndio wanaulizwa umekuwa nini, and then all those certifications, hizo records, hizo recognitions unaweka pamoja, kisha watu wanaona kwamba umekuwa kiongozi. Last time you also vied for Bonchari MP. How did it go?
Let me say, last year the campaigns were very difficult because the circumstances were different as well. You remember the interests were different in the sense that we had national parties competing, and national parties competing where, it was a flexing of muscle in preparation for 2022 between the ODM party, my party now, Jubilee, the president's party, and UDA, the deputy president's party. The leaders of these parties are national leaders with immense influence and resources. So when I came in with TND, the New Democrat, I was incredibly disadvantaged because I remember even I was having about 12 people, a very lean campaign, the entire constituency campaigning for me. And I would get my competitors, the three competitors, I would get them campaigning, and some of them my friends, including members of parliament from other constituencies coming into campaigning for their candidate. So in such a circumstances, it's very difficult for you to win. But albeit all that, you remember I was able to do well. I came in fourth after the three parties, and using meager resources and a very lean campaign team out of the 13 contestants. So I think I did fairly well. And I think it's because of that kind of backdrop that our campaign this year is doing much, much better than last year. Yeah.
So what vision do you have for Bonchari?
Bonchari constituency is a sleeping giant. It's a sleeping giant because as we speak today, there's a serious conversation going on some of the facilities that have been there for over 35 years, which have not been completed. And that's just an example I'm giving. As you know, the geographical location of Bonchari in the county of Kisii, it's just next to Kisii town. For example, the Suneka town, which is the second largest city in Kisii after the Kisii town itself. You cannot say about Keroka because it's a disputed town between Nyamira and Kisii. So Suneka is the biggest. We have a facility like the airstrip there, which is the only one we have in Kisii County. We have other things like, you see, we have the sofa set carpentry there, which is doubted to be the best in the entire region.
And carpentry, kutengeneza hizo sofa set.
Hizo sofa hizo, hakuna mahali pengine utapata sofa nzuri kwenye eneo hili lote hata mpaka Nyanza isipokuwa Suneka. So that's known. We have the airstrip, as I said. We also the proximity to the Kisii town is great. The people of Suneka are vibrant. So such is what I can say makes Suneka or Bonchari in general to be a sleeping giant. So the vision I have for the constituencies, within the scope of a member of parliament, as you know, we have 6 leaders who are elected this year, in the president to the MCA, and each of them has a certain scope. As a member of parliament, you're supposed to do legislation, representation, and oversight, and as well as manage a kitty called National Government Constituent Development Fund, which actually looks at various aspects. For example, education, security, environment, sports, culture, stuff like that. So when it comes to education, right now as we speak, we have our students are not doing well. For example, you look at the mean of KCSE last year is about 5.5, which is about a C, which means averagely you can say the intelligence of Mwanabo Bonchari is around a C, which is actually not true. If you've read the book called The Power of Giving by Bill Clinton, page 9, he talks about the ubiquity of talent. Talent and ability is ubiquitous, it's everywhere. The only problem we have is the resources and the more effort people put into that. So you cannot argue that children from Bonchari are not smart as children from other counties or places. So when you look at, for example, there's a school called Iruma Secondary with over 40 E's last year, 40 E's. Another school near my home, called Sagati, with about 35 E's. That's just an example. That is a sleeping giant, because we cannot say that this cannot be turned out to be better. So, in my opinion, a raft of motivational activities or programs are needed, so that we can spur, we can make the students work harder and teachers also work harder. I intend to have a meeting with teachers and discuss something like this. Look at the way the bursaries are being awarded. For far too long, bursaries have been awarded to cronies and those only who supported an incumbent. That one must be brought to an end. As you know, when we were in Suneka, some of us, we went to school because of these bursaries and like scholarships. Personally, I would not have been where I am today had I not been helped by scholarships and all that. So I feel like something needs to be done. And I intend to introduce digitization so that when we have a database or a repository of these students, once they've applied in Form 1, they do not need to apply again the entire time they're in school, because now we have the details. If somebody is an orphan, they suddenly cannot have parents the following year, so that you can give them a long form for them to complete and fill, go to the village elder, go to the church elder, go to the catechist, go to who and who to confirm that you are an orphan. Once we have the details in the database, there's no need for them to apply. We just give them like a serial number or like a reference number. They just reapply using a reference number. I'm still there in their school. We confirm with the school and we give them money. I don't see the reason why that should continue. So those are some of the things I have. And I talked about two facilities. For example, the airstrip, which is now a contentious issue, given the remarks of Dr. Fred Matiang'i yesterday. You see, this is something which was started in 1975. Since 1975, we have had leaders in this region. And it has become a cash cow. For example, you look at the 2014 budget, national budget, it was allocated 1.65 billion for rehabilitation, Suneka and two other airstrips in Kenya, which means Suneka alone would have been given about 600 million. And when you go there, you'll be surprised. There's nothing going on there. And this money was allocated and if you check on the Auditor General report, there's a significant level. They say 85% is complete, and it's not. So some of these things are because our people don't understand the importance of these kind of facilities, and they don't ask because it's actually cordoned. It's fenced. Nobody goes inside there. No planes land. And yet this is a facility which can actually revitalize the economy of Bonchari so that it can come up. That's why it's a sleeping giant. Look at the stadium, which is supposed to be around the rural roads, just near the DC office there. This place has been occupied since 1982. So
tunaita Chiefs Camp hapo.
Chiefs Camp hapo, yeah. So you see, that is supposed in Bonchari, we do not have a facility called a stadium, the entire constituency, and yet this is land which has been there occupied for over 30 years by a section of government. Like this is just a government ministry occupying it, and changing that is just a matter of intra-government negotiation. So some of these things, when you look at them, and the people are keeping quiet, and we have had leaders, so these are some of the things I intend to make sure that I bring them back to the people within the shortest time possible. So that I'm saying something needs to be done. That is a very vital constituency in this area, and it can actually help spur growth in the entire county of Kisii, in spite of the small population around that area.
There have been leaders wametoka hapo mbeleni na wengine wapo na wengine wanaendelea. Are you not able to give them such ideas, or it must be Jonah so that they can work?
You see, some of my competitors are in their, others are in the 80s, others 70s, others maybe in their 60s. These people have been there. They've been there in the constituency. And they know that these things have been existing. They've done no effort at all. So there's no way you can come now at this hour and say you want to follow up this. And some of them have been actually elected before. So you cannot say now you're coming to do something which you've failed to do for over 30 years. So I do not think they have an agenda for the constituency. Others are saying, oh, just give me one term for the last time, I just go. when somebody is motivated by just being given one term to go, then you can even say that they will not work. They just want to be there. They just want to be given like a present just to leave. That is not an interest of Bonchari. It's a selfish interest, and such people must be shunned away.
Early on, when I voted first in Bonchari, we didn't vote for the big two. We usually went to opposition or other leaders. If you remember 202, 97, 202, we were with the Kibaki all through. And even when Nyachai was vying for presidency, Bonchari voted in large numbers for the other opponent. So what I'm trying to say is that Chama, it plays a very big role in Bonchari. Last time ulikuwa the Democrat. This time uko katika among the big two. So by the way, unauliza kutoka ODM.
Yes.
So it is assumed that ukiwa ODM ama UDA, you'll have easy time now going through. So maybe. Do you think it plays a big role in this election?
Takeaways from 2021 by-election. First is that if you want to win an election, generally you need to be in a popular party. That's a question. That's a takeaway number one. If you don't have a big party, then you must have a lot of money to run for that. So and to compensate the fact that you're having a small party, that's a takeaway. And there's also an element of euphoria. Like when you talk about 2002, there was 4 people, and it was run by Nyachai, Semi Nyachai. There was an element of euphoria. Everybody was out. This is our party. And remember, we didn't have social media at that time. Social media has played a big role in a sense that at least people can tell what is happening in other parts of the country. At that time, we just thought, actually, I was in Form 2, I believe, and actually I was in Form 3. And I almost thought that Nyachai was going to be president. Far from the truth. So Nyachai would not become president because we were few. But everyone in Kis said, oh, Nyachai is going to be president. Even when there was a national reawakening that Kibaki was the right man for the job. So social media has played a key role. But for this election, opinion polls have shown that I'm at the top of the chart many times in the last few weeks. And opinion polls are just a projection. So it doesn't give me a big comfort that I'm going to win. That I have to work hard. So we're still pushing, and being in a good party is the next president's party. It would be a great advantage if the people of Bonchari vote me. I get in there, and I'm kind of aligned to the next government. Then we're able to pull a lot of resources and many good things for our people. Because generally in this country, historically, if you are not outside government, you really struggle to make things happen. But when you're in government, then you push things. And God willing, once I get sworn in late August, I believe I might end up in a good, parliamentary committee, and also make more influences for our people, because I believe I have the competence required.
Bwana Jonah, let me say the Boncharians elected a youth in the by-election. The youth, you know how it went. Until now, you have the ticket in his party. So I just a disappointment in development, or what
So
is the place of the youth?
that's a one occurrence. It cannot be used to make an inference. Mheshimiwa making rafiki yangu sana, he may have had a lot of challenges, during his 1-year tenure. And, actually, let's face it, in political science, there's a principle that once you win an election and you don't manage your support as well, in the 3rd month or 4th month, you lose half of your support. And if you continue that trajectory, you can easily become unpopular, very easily. And I think, without prejudice, I think maybe he did not manage, his win after winning, how to manage his supporters. And also the expectations, my brother, the expectations are high. Once you win, people have a lot of expectations. Sometimes people think they forget God and think you're the God. It's not easy. And when that happens, In an environment where there's a big unemployment and all that, and maybe you're not being reachable, or there's issues around, the people you put in office. Because there was frustrations also, like who came to the office in the CDF and stuff like that. So I don't want to like delve that much into that. It's behind us. But the thing is, people were not maybe satisfied after he won. And also there was also a lot of fighting from others outside who did not win. Because, once you don't win, there's an element of, resentment. You've spent money, you didn't win and all that. So all this combined became a big force against Mheshimiwa Meke. But, in the end, when we went to the, after the by-election, I changed back to my party, ODM. I used to be in ODM before, so I come back to ODM. And I said I would challenge him. If he defeated me, I would have actually supported him. But now, as defeated him, he has remained a bit silent. He's neither supporting or campaigning against me, which is fine. So I think the element of saying the youths are a disappointment, I think it's just a statement used by my competitors because I'm young and they're elderly. Then they say that youth cannot do. I'm telling you, look at across the country, for example, Jeremiah. Look at Babu Wino, for example, was we were in the same college. He was one class behind me. He's now serving his first. He's going to second term. Look at Governor Stephen Sang, who is 37, like my age mate. He has served 2 terms as a governor, and all over the world. Look at people who are popular who are like prominent people in the world who are even in historical books. Look at Tom Mboya. Thomas Joseph Mboya died around 37 years. As we speak right now, we have streets in Kenya called Tom Mboya Street. We have Tom Mboya Labour College, Tom Mboya Statue, Tom Mboya Primary, and what have you. Okay, look at people like Thomas Sankara of West Africa. He died at 35 as president, and you can see whatever he did in 1985, even before I was born. He did a lot of things which is in the historical books. Look at people like Patrice Lumumba. 37, he was prime minister of the Congo Brazzaville. Look at people like Muammar Gaddafi. He was 28 when he became president. Look at right now. Look at Ukraine. Vladimir Zelensky. He's 44. He's president. He went to the arena when he was in the early 30s. So an assertion that a young man cannot do a good job in Bonchari, I think is a farce and must be rejected ab initio. There's nothing like that. I am competent. These people fear that. They've been in parliament. Look at, for example, the Hansard report. They don't even speak in parliament. And the role of a member of parliament is to legislate. So if you just keep quiet and you're not legislating, then you are absconding your responsibility as a member of parliament. So those who are saying that, they have nothing to say against Jonah Ondieki, and they fear me. That's why they're saying those things. Thank you.
Maybe they are getting a soft ground. I'm talking about the youth, by the way. What about the parties? Are they happy that the youth can lead? Look at Bahati and such cases. Are they happy that they are
Well,
handled
let me say
under the
this.
mantle of youth? Yeah,
I won't use the element of being young as the only reason why I'm running for office.
good.
You have to be young and competent. You have to be young and competent. Some people, use their popularity maybe in the art industry, and they say, "Oh, now because I'm known, I can run and become." Others have been disappointed. People for sure. People, for example, of Sarai have been disappointed with the Jaguar. And other places are also disappointed. But you
But
can see.
look at you. We don't want to talk about presidency, by the way. Maybe some other day we might talk about it. But when you look at Ukraine, look at the president, and we have had so many comedians, people in music industry, use their fame to lead. So though it can be, yes, I concur with you, but that you cannot say that I'm
Yeah.
that's the only qualification.
Yeah, it's not the only qualification. People are also multi-talented. I love music. You know that I play piano. So, and as you do many things, Jeremiah. Yeah. So you cannot say that because, okay, look, example of Zelensky was a comedian. Look at people like Andrei Rajoelina of Madagascar. He was a DJ and he became president. So you can also things can the way God had blesses people differently. What I'm saying is that when you're in office and you have been elected, are you able to deliver? Do you have the tenets of delivering? And that's what I'm saying. Like the old guards were saying, "Oh, you cannot be able to lead because you're young." I think they're just using that to advance a political narrative, which I think is not neither here nor there.
I've been in Bonchari for quite a good a good time of my life. And let me say that one of the things that hinders development is kila wakati mukokotini bwana. After this and this mukokotini. And then it goes through until the election young period ingine inaingia. So given a chance that bwana Jonah will lead, where do you see Bonchari in the next 4.5 5 years?
If I can just comment on the court things, courts are avenues for people to also look for their rights. These are the avenues. So, for example, the case that led to the injunctions or freezing of accounts of the constituency, when you look at the background, is that you look at the CDF Act of 2016. Once a committee has been instituted in office, you cannot take them out just because you just came in as a member of parliament. They have to go through the cycle of 2.5 years. So I think Mheshimiwa, maybe I think that's an area which he did not look at very well. If I were him, I would have sat down with these people, talk about it, and say, maybe I have a new team, can we work together and stuff like that. So these are the guys who went to court. Actually, it was within their right to do that, and the court did the right thing which is supposed to be done. It was a loss for the constituency because until another new financial year came in, finances were not used, and therefore it means they were returned to the exchequer, about I think 104 million back to the exchequer. So something like that is a loss to the constituency. Now, for me, in the next 5 years, one thing is that I'm going to do this incrementally in terms of digitizing these services, so that end time, whether I'm in Kisii, in Bonchari, or in Nairobi, or anywhere, I am able to follow what is going on. If it's allocation of resources, or maybe allocation of tenders or projects, I am able to tell who is getting what and what time without any inflation. Like I can follow. I want to digitize the services to reduce the cost of offering services and also increase efficiency. So in the next 5 years. And also I want to make sure that now the performances of schools within the scope of a member of parliament are going to do well. Through a raft of motivational programs to schools, making sure that we have new infrastructure. For example, in January, there's something they call double entry, whereby the CBC is kicking in. We have like Form 1, Junior Secondary, and Form 1, of course, the regular, which are going on. So when it's like that, then we need more facilities. As we speak right now, nobody even thinks about that. So we have to improve our infrastructural facilities in schools. Make sure that is done. Or roads, we need to improve roads. I want to connect about 3,000 families to electricity by the end of my term, because that is very important. And of course, using national manifesto like the Azmio, we need to get our people in the programs like the safety nets, get them in the social protection programs like the 6,000, get them into the schemes like NHIF and all that, so that we can reduce the burdens of our people. So that and many other things. Basically, I'm going to make sure that Bonchari right now where it is going to be a step higher. When we talk about the stadium that we need to construct, there's a case going on. We can have that completed, then we have that stadium given the people. Discuss with other partners out there, get it constructed, and see if we can also make sure that we can overturn what is going on right now about the airstrip. We have it constructed. These facilities, once in place, they will revitalize the economy of Suneka area and the environs. So those are some of the things I want to make sure that I achieve within the first 5 years.
I've seen you run your campaign, and I may not comment much, but is there somebody funding your campaign?
Yes. Let me just be honest. Friends are funding my campaigns. Let me tell you, running for office is an incredibly expensive affair. If you are not prepared, I can tell you it's not easy. It's expensive.
Just to add on, before you continue, maybe so that you can answer. Well, you have been here, and you have seen how people talk about interest groups, and people tend to think that once you enter into office, if you use a lot of money, you tend to recover that money. So, are there any interest groups that are funding your campaign such that whenever you win, they will benefit from you?
No, not yet. What I know, some people come in the last minute and try to maybe fund. I've had this from people that, when people see that you're winning, they can come in and fund and in hope that you give them tenders. So I've had that. And at the moment, people are funding my campaigns. I have friends who believe in me, who think I can bring a good revolution and also good leadership. I know some people, like some interested groups saying, oh, Jonah is not even talking to us, not asking us vote, because maybe they feel like I've not maybe involved them. The reason is some people want to be maybe in the front line, and when you win, then they demand for something. So I want to have as little interest groups as possible so that I don't get frustrated when I win. So I can tell you, I'm the people's project. I'm the people's project because when you look at some of my competitors, or my competitor, is being fronted by people who have been there before and who have actually ruined the constituency. I don't want to mention names, and others are being fronted by their relatives, prominent relatives within the constituency. You see, they are being fronted. Once they win, these are the people who call the shots. And I'm cautioning Bonchari that you must open up your eyes and see this. I come from a humble background. I've been, when I was there, in school and lived there with family, people, I've told them that this is the interest, and they have been supporting me, friends in Nairobi, and my personal funds. So we are pushing on, and I believe that we have the capacity from these friends who are supporting us to go through the campaign. And we don't know how our competitors are prepared, but we can say we are prepared to take on the campaign until the end. And once we win, then now we can bring new dispensation without a lot of influences from people who call themselves the big interest groups. Like, for example, the US, the big pharmaceuticals and all, who support presidential campaigns and end up getting big contracts. Yeah.
So from your sentiment is that you don't use a lot of money to campaign. Have our people matured enough so that they can, you can hope to win on your principles alone? That people can listen to your ideas, your principles, and then win on those.
Let me tell you, Ontiri, the levels of poverty with our people is high. Unemployment is high. So when you go around talking to people, sometimes it's expected that you will maybe give them soda or transport. You cannot just hold a meeting like that. As a matter of fact, I can tell you a daily expenditure is at least $700 a day, daily. At least $700 daily. That's about 70,000 shillings daily for you to make activities. And as you know, to pull people together, like to have a baraza or like a town hall, as we call it, we easily get these kind of opportunities maybe in funerals, in churches, and, because it's kind of a free mobilization. And that's why politicians like that. So that's where we want to sell our agenda and talk to people about ourselves. So it's something which we can't run away from. That's the fact. And when you call people, like, let's say you're calling maybe, like the other day I was having businessmen of Suneka, I've had women groups meetings, I'm about to have a big youth meeting, teachers, like when you call them there, people in the security section, which is also a part of the member of parliament responsibility to make sure there's security. So you have to call them, then when you finish, you give them maybe soda and maybe some transport. That is not little money. If you have, for example, 50 people, without maybe going to details, that's a lot of money you spend daily. So expenditure is there. And also, sometimes when you go somewhere, you have a meeting and maybe your competitor lands, you are there, you can send their supporters to come and masquerade to be your supporters, to weaken you in a way. So there's a lot of intrigues in politics. And of course, security. You must have your security men with you. You are locally arranged security people. You have like 3 or 4 people guarding you, because it can be a dangerous trend. So it's not easy. But I can tell you, we are still pushing, and I believe at this stage, it's unlikely that and against us are heading to victory. And I urge my friends out there who are watching to keep supporting us. You're doing the right thing. Keep supporting us as much as possible, so that we can get this victory and install new leadership, which will culminate maybe in the future good leadership in this country.
Thank you, Bwana Jonah. Let me go through a few questions here. I'll only go through questions and comments later. Ayeko. Alfred Ayeka anauliza, happy to see you. Okay. Ask him about Ngeri Polytechnic. Upgrade iwe ya sense to power. Ukiingia bungeni.
Mhm.
What about Ngeri Polytechnic upgrade?
Okay, like I said, in a single interview, maybe we may not exhaust everything. Let me tell you, in the entire constituency,
Mhm.
we do not have a functional polytechnic or a functional TVET. We don't have. That is not the same as other constituencies. So it is imperative that we have a vocational training institute, like a TVET or a polytechnic, where our people can go and train skills. When you have skills, we can reduce unemployment. So Ngeri Polytechnic, which has land and some money has been put there before, which has been squandered by some people. So these are something I intend to revisit. Not only in Ngeri, we have also Kise South Polytechnic down there in Rio Yuko. We have Kiamoiro. We have all these. We have Kirwanda. Part of them are within constituents, and part of them will in the county, like the polytechnics. And we have now the TVET, Technical Training and Vocational Institutes. We don't have. In fact, as a matter of fact, we only have one college in Bonchari, which is a personal property of the late Oro Yoka. It's called Angelic. It's just training like ECD teachers. We do not have a functional government TVET or polytechnic in Bonchari. That is actually an indictment to the leadership we have had before.
Wow. When I moved to Bonchari the first time I stayed in those apartments. And all of a sudden he decided, he said, I want you, he gave us 2 weeks. He said, I want you to move out because I'm beginning a college here. So we had to go
Montessori, yeah.
I got injunction and I stood for another day.
Yeah.
So it's true, yeah, we have a personal
It's a business. It's a personal business.
yeah. Looking at talking about you earlier on talked about the airstrip. I remember when we used to see, I think when Nyonga, the late, passed on, and that's when we had one of the largest aircraft land there, and the entire community was it flocked there to watch. I mean, it was something painful. At the same time, there were mixed reaction and you see a big aircraft landing there. So when Robert Ondieki is saying, it's not a question, but he's saying that the only airstrip in Kisii County has been moved to Sironga, Maoni Yake, in Nyamira County, and our leaders are silent in Nauma Tusana. And there was sentiment early on, Kumbuka, when it was being said in Chukuliwo Konyamachi. So I don't know what is the status of this airstrip up to now.
Let me put you up to speed. In public policy, a policy it can be influenced in boardrooms. That's one way. We can also influence this policy by going to the streets. Like Akie to think. It can influence. It can set an agenda in the policy making table. Now, in this case, for example, if you had Dr. President Matiang'i, what he said, which actually I really condemn, he said that we do not have a sufficient runway, which is 1.5 kilometers. We have like 1.2 kilometers. And because of that, we cannot have it, it's not viable for commercial flights. And like you said, even the time we were in Suneka Secondary, we would see big aircrafts land in that place, and it was not even big, So what has changed? And this project, since inception in 1975, money has been poured to this project, and we've had leaders before, and the Kenyan government is one government, even from that time. So what has changed today? And look at, for example, like I said, in 2014, 2015 budget, 1.65 billion was put out there for this project. So what has changed? So what I'm trying to say is that Matiang'i is probably having a future, plan of maybe running for office or something like that. So he's trying to influence allocation of resources so that they can have something to cling on. And because our leaders are in deep slumber, they cannot see this. So the reason is giving and taking to Sironga. Sironga is a swamp. Where the place they're taking is a swamp. It's going to take a lot of money to construct that. And already as we speak, if you go there, I was there a few weeks ago, it's just a pile of soil which has been moved. Now, they have demolished what we used to have. They have a pile of soil. And this is government money which is being poured there. Vindel International Limited, which is owned by Vindel Miruka, who is actually an aspiring MP somewhere, I think it's out of Mogrango. These are interest groups which I think must be investigated, and there could be proxies of people are using such kind of projects because our people are asleep to continue eating over these years. Imagine since 1975 until now, it has not been finished. And money has been poured. In 2020, there was 20 million which was also poured for rehabilitation. So we have to ask questions. Why is this happening like this? So what I'm trying to say is, Dr. Freki Matiang'i, I think, must withdraw that statement, and our people should come together and demand for this unalienable right, because it is our project, is our facility, which, if it's completed, is going to help us. So you look at, in general, look at the way projects in Bonchari has been treated. Look at the market, for example. The first time they said they've allocated 56 million, and they put some adverts on national newspapers that they were looking for contractors. Then later we had the 26 million. It has not been completed. And this project was actually started by President Moi back in 1980s. It was not finished, and why is going out, for example. Look at what I said about the stadium. It has been there, nothing. We don't have any space you can say we can hold even a public rally in Suneka, in Kisi. You can only create a traffic jam. So these are things that we have to begin to think. So this kind of contempt against our people must come to an end. And it can only come to an end if we can have serious leaders who can actually speak to the power and influence public policy at the national level. So at this stage, I feel like it is just unfortunate. And if you can go back and recycle leaders who have been there before, who have failed, then that is a tragedy to other people. And we have this opportunity this year for people to choose from the whole buffet.
I may be of a different opinion, though I'm not gonna give my opinion here. You already said that leaders, your leaders are silent. Bwana Matiang'i comes from Nyamira, and there's nothing wrong if your leaders are silent for him to to wake up, because they can reclaim that land. You understand how they do it, and then maybe take services to his side, so that in future maybe it can give him maybe it's a political move. So that's why you need leaders who are awake, so that they can also fight for your share, so that you can do something else. Something else other than that. You have been talking about tackling issues in Bonchari. However, how does clanism play? Because I know where you come from. There's also an aspirant. I was talking to Nyaribari last 2 weeks, and they had the same issue. So, how is clanism playing in your politics?
Yeah, we cannot run away from that fact. Bonchari has some clans, and as you know, in the entire Gusi politics, an element of clanism is deeply entrenched in the politics here. So in the geopolitics of Bonchari, we have 4 wards, and I come from Riana ward, and that's just a ward. And this is very recent. It's just a ward is something we just come up since the new constitution. But before that time, since independence, we've been having something called locations, sublocations, which was actually delimited depending on the houses or the villages. So we have 14 houses in Bonchari, and I come from Bomokora, which is also part of Riana ward, and also, which is also partly part of the Iyabe location, which is Iyabe, which has Bomokora, and the Bokeri, which is Bomorena. There's an element of that. So in terms of the people who are now standing to run for office for this particular seat, the element of clanism will come in. We have my ward, we are 3, and even with the 3, I have some advantage in the sense that we have numbers, from I'm having a head start of about 9,000 votes. That's a head start. Then when we go to my competitors, they also have some head start. But the thing is, my competitors from these other places have completely failed to pick for some reason. They have not been able to be appealing to the people. So that is just a factor, one of the factors. But Abanchari are also looking for a leader. And those I've interacted with, they feel like I'm the right person for this position this year. So the clan is an issue. The clan is one of the factors, but it's not just the only factor which is going to do. There are a number of factors which are going to interplay to get a good leader. And I feel like in spite of my head start of about 10,000 or 9,000 votes, might need about 6,000 votes to win, because I think this year, if you have like 14,000 votes out of the 65,000 registered voters, and maybe let's say if the turnout is like 70%, if you have that divided by the competitors we have, I think somebody with 15,000 will have a very clear lead, and I feel like it's achievable.
Don't you see it as a negative factor? Remember, as Mio is trying to say that Fulani Ajia Fulani, is that something that you can?
The zoning thing, they call it zoning.
They didn't want to use that word, I know. So that's why.
They call it zoning.
Yeah.
Zoning meaning that you just give a certain political party a zone to fill the candidate.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of intricacies. Let me just say, for example, in Kisii County, when I look at the numbers, if you were to do zoning, I think it would disadvantage even my candidate of choice. I don't want to name the candidate of choice, but I feel like it might disadvantage because of the element of clanism or regionalism and the politics we have here. So I think we better just be left like that. But if in the Bonchari constituency, if we were to do zoning based on opinion polls, then and from the discussion we had in other meetings within the Azimio coalition, I am the guy to beat. So I will be given that chance if we were to go that. I'm from ODM. I'm popular. Right now, the last opinion poll showed that I was 41%, double-digit lead from the person behind me. So I'm way ahead of that. So if they were to use that, then I would be given that, and it would change the matrices, because what is the zoning is basically the Azimio against UDA or Kenya Kwanza. So the Kenya Kwanza candidate, Kenya Kwanza has two candidates in Bonchari, but one used to be maybe the most mentioned one. So if we were to do that, then it will actually now bring a dichotomy. We're going to have the north and south, and in that case, I would prevail because we have the numbers.
All right, thank you Bwana Jonah Ondieki. Wale ambao wanajiunga pamoja nasi, we are talking to MP aspirant Bonchari constituency Bwana Jonah Ondieki, and let me read a few comments before nimpe nafasi ya mwisho aongea mawili matatu. There is let me see. There was a comment from Robert Ondieki anasema watching live. Okay, Rihanna anasema whereby the only airstrip in Kisii. I think that one we talked about it. There's another one, Britain alikuwa anasema kwamba we need a wise man and a young who will uplift Bonchari in education, development, in infrastructure and so many others. By the way, hapo mbeleni nimeona I've seen CDF do wonders. Hata mimi nimesomea huko, wewe umesoma huko na wengine. So at times unashindwa when you talk about ease in 2021 and with such facilities, saa zingine unashindwa what do we need? What do Boncharians need at this moment? Maybe utaongea hiyo later. Let me also read another comment. Max Kali anasema hapa, Onkeni Jonah Ondieki our next mbele pamoja.
Thank you.
Moseti Mireni anasema Jonah is loved by many. I would wish to know which poll was that, because naona hapa Mireni anakusupport vile vile, saying the same sentiment. Thomas Isaboke anasema ako Dagoretti South, anasema ask him if elected what will he do to the people of Bonchari and whom is he supporting for president. Nikakimia kidogo tena akarudia, I think supporting for presidency. And finally Bwana Vincent Tongi, unamjua? Anasema a good interview. Anasema wishing my good friend best of luck.
Thanks Mr. Tongi.
So Bwana Thomas Avoke kutoka Dagoretti North anauliza, who are you supporting for president?
That goes without saying. Baba the Fifth.
Saa zingine
He's my party leader, it's obvious. He's the next president. There's no question about that.
You can be no diamu useme kwamba nime change mind. Maybe people don't know.
No.
A follow-up question. There's one follow-up question nilikuwa nataka kuuliza hapo about community development. By the way, how necessary is community development and education at the current state of Bonchari?
So community development can be viewed in different ways. It can be soft and also can be physical, because community development, we need infrastructure. Infrastructure in the sense that, for example, if I give my own example, the first time we had electricity in my homestead was in 2016 for the first time. And I can see the way it has changed things. No longer use of kerosene and stuff like that, or roads.
Sorry to cut you short. You talked about electricity, and you are still again repeating about electricity. But you have been here most of the time. Umeangalia, you said you were in Ohio doing your masters. I hope you worked around, and so I'm also involved in a local campaign here. Here to talk, yes, but at this moment, I thought you should be talking about alternative energy other than
Energy,
electricity. You can bear me witness, wakati mwingi our people unaweka stima, you pay a lot of bills for electric bill, and then vile unaanza kuwatch show, stima inapotea, inaenda siku mbili
yeah.
siku tatu, and then you don't even use it for the purpose that I think, is it no high time that we
Yeah.
should be thinking about something else?
Yeah, there's alternative energy, like renewable energy. We can talk about things like solar, which I think is the easiest to access. But generally, here, politics is local, and it's something we are going to introduce using maybe other partners. You know about the issues of global warming and the interest groups around it. We're talking about how we can go to renewable energy, things like geothermal and also solar. So in our case here, solar, some individuals have the solar energy. I have a solar panel myself, which is like an alternative. So something we can actually look at as we go the future. We can see how we can get the funding to that, because in programs, in government programs, we have the rural electrification, and
Last mile.
last mile and the rural electrification. But you see, there's several ways that we get our electricity into the national grid. It doesn't have to come from the water, the turbines, all that. We can also get it from the solar, the power, the windmills, like the one in Ngong, or in one in Lonyanglan in Turkana. So there's several ways. So even solar panels, if we can also focus on that and maybe have better legislation on that, we can have more power getting into the national grid from the solar. So if we can do that, we could help. But individual solar panels, I think that's more of a personal investment people can do. We encourage that. And we can see potential programs out there we could use to also help our people get connected. We have a lot of solar in Kisii, like at least 2/3 of the day, like from morning until maybe 2 or 3 p.m. there's solar. Then there's rain showers in the evening. So we have sufficient solar here, which can actually be like an alternative. So that's something we can look at. But I can tell that is something which is going to take a while. I won't write that on my manifesto this time around, because I know it takes a while and may not be achievable within 5 years. But we can push it for national change of policy towards that. Yeah.
Does that community development involve, remember the famous Kebati? Remember about the sewage? Last time we were talking about the dumping site being brought to Gesson. So I don't know, what are your views on those?
Yeah, you see now that will infiltrate Bonchari even more. You see, we are the only place where we are getting all these garbage. Garbage is coming to Bonchari in the seaward side there.
Maybe they see you are capable of transforming the garbage into something else. Industrial.
That is something which we have to explore, because now if they're taking away, for example, the airstrip, which is we're supposed to be assisting us in revitalizing the economy, and other things are not being done, markets are not being done. I'm just speaking generally, because some of these things are in the scope of the county. Yeah. And as a leader from this region, I have to be concerned and maybe work with other leaders to do that. Now, all the garbage and sewerage in Kisii lands in Suneka, in the sewages in Bonyando. And there is no effort to convert this garbage into either fertilizer or maybe even energy, like the biogas or stuff like that. So we have to get something done. At least it has been there for far too long. We have to get something done. And they were also exploring a possibility of bringing another dump site in around Gasonso. So I don't think Boncharians are ready for another sewage. They're not ready. And I can tell you, I'd rather not be elected if that is something I can trade it with. So there's no way you can allow that to happen this time around. So whatever we have right now, the sewer system, which is ending there, we don't even have water. Water is just a section of just water. So actually, let me not expand too much to other people's territories, because this is also like the governor's job or other people. But we are going to push to make sure that we have something done with that sewage. We get something done, and maybe conversion of that waste to maybe fertilizer or energy that can help our people get jobs, and also some level of compensation, because I can tell you that is a health hazard. People have contracted diseases there, bilharzia, and other waterborne or that things which come from this kind of dirt, which is not very well treated. And the odor, the smell, is also good at that area. So these are things that we need to look at, even if possibility of getting our people compensated for the kind of complications that have developed from that kind of facility there.
Yeah, Max Kali anasema even biogas can work. I'm sure Mheshimiwa will see this out. Yeah, anasema maybe she has a lot of faith in you. What is this that Boncharians will regain by electing Jonah Ondieki? What advantage does electing Jonah Ondieki come with? Unlike
Let
electing
me say this with a lot of magnanimity, and people call it maybe Najisifam or whatever. Let me tell you, from the competitors we have, none is capable of articulating Bonchari issues in whatever fora, whether it's in National Assembly, because others have failed to do that before. They will not do it again because they don't have that. So that is an immense advantage they're going to get by electing Jonah, because I'm able to articulate those issues at the National Assembly. And also, I don't have history of embezzling funds. So I don't have that experience. So they expect to get an honest man to do the job for them. And they will get somebody who's intrinsically motivated to do the job, because I want to be re-elected again in the future. So I have to work. If I don't work, I will not be re-elected. I have chosen the path of politics as a career. And if I don't do well for my bosses or my constituents, then I won't be elected. So unlike others who just want to be there and be seen, or they are once members of parliament, or they just want to go there and eat like they've done before, you're having an individual here who wants to present himself to do a work for you for 5 years, to impress you and improve the constituents, then you re-elect him. And also, I have a vision or a dream of getting somewhere up there, not only member of parliament. So if you look at our constituents, many people fear going outside there, other than Mama Teresa, who's now running for women rep. People have timed in that position for far too long. So if I get two terms, God willing, if I'm live, we could actually go up and run for something bigger. And because of the track record we would have left behind, then we will have a good chance of getting up there. And once in the future, we can have a national leader. So if a vote for John is a vote for investment for the future, I represent the future. One day I was having a campaign, and one mzee came out and gave this analogy and said, between John and the other competitors who are in their 70s and 80s, if you were to plant a mango tree today, which is going to give us fruits 15 years down the line, who among the two is likely to have a mango to eat from this tree? And natural attrition, it's me. And a natural attrition, because as you age, also your evening years, your performance and efficiency is incredibly reduced. So I'm not trying to talk down, against maybe the elders. My father alone is 78, and I know the challenges he has today. If you were to put him to be elected, I don't think that would be a good service for our people. So I respect the elders, and they have also to give us opportunity now to serve. And we're the majority. When you look at the demographics, more than 70% is 40 under in this country. So we are the people to call the shots. So let's be given an opportunity to serve our people now, because the people are serving majority are youth, and we have the same destiny in the future.
Bwana Jonah, most people who come here don't go back, by the way. ulikuja ukafanya masters ukarudi nyumbani. How is the reception? Saa zingine watu
Unajua
wanakuambia
wacha
enda
nikwambie,
uka.
unajua wacha nikwambie Jeremiah.
Eh,
Uongozi lazima uwe na msukumo fulani. If I can speak in Swahili. You see, Marekani nilipokuja pale, ningetaka kutafuta uongozi labda ningepata, lakini angalia ningetumia sera gani. Kwa mfano ningetumia sera ya kusema kwamba mambo ya ndoa za jinsia moja, usagaji na mambo ya ushoga ni jambo la maana sana kuambia wananchi. Kwa mfano, ama niambia watu kwamba kuna global warming. Sasa a campaign on global warming platform. I don't think and as much as it's an international issue, to me, I don't think I can reinvent the wheel. You know, I feel like the basic things that needed in my country here are more important at the moment. I can siwezi campaign kwa maswala kama hayo ya mambo ya ndoa ya jinsia moja, niseme wanafaa kuwa na haki zao kwa mfano. I really don't care what they do, but I'm saying I don't feel like those are the values I want to share at this time. If I were to campaign maybe in the US, I would be using those as my campaign, talk points, Alafu mambo ya maybe kuna mambo ya global warming, mambo ya hali ya anga, mambo kama hayo, mambo ya mazingira. In our place here, we need roads, we need schools to even get to that level of discussing those issues. I think this is where I need to be. And if you look at 400 years ago, Jeremiah, our people were hounded from Africa to go and develop this country and other countries in the West. They used our human resource. We didn't have computers those days. Now, we cannot go there and say we are just complacent because maybe systems are working. Whereas where they got these resources, the human resource, in the form of slaves, our countries are left behind. You remember those days when you read history, they were looking for those who were energetic. They were taken out. The weaklings were left behind. And that's why we were impoverished. There's, I'm forgetting the name of this writer. The book is called something like How Europe Impoverished Africa. So you can see what they were doing. And right now, it is us who can develop this continent. So I felt like the calling I have is not just to merely come and maybe just work and go home. We're doing a lot of, let me tell you, we are doing a lot of sacrifices. I've not seen my children for the last 2 months. I've not seen my children. Like we have to make these sacrifices for the people. And I hope people will know this. It's not just a matter of just being a wannabe and being there. We want to make a difference. We want one day when people talk about our people, our constituents, our country, we are mentioned somewhere. That's what we are looking for. So it's not a matter of looking for money, because if I wanted to make money, I would make money easily in the US by doing anything I want to do. So people need to know that sometimes somebody has to step up to do this job. And I feel this time around, I am the person who has been anointed to step up to do this job. And that's why we are doing this, what we're doing.
Thank you, Bwana Jonah. I know it's a continuous conversation, and we'll be coming back to you, and we'll be talking about the morning brief, about the Leo Magazetini. We'll talk more, and thank you for sparing your time. Now, labda kuna jambo tumesahau, na there's something you really wanted your voters to know. Now, talk to your voters in 1 minute. Now,
Let me say this. This is very important. If you're not listening to whatever I was saying, please listen to this one. Every 5 years, we have an opportunity to elect our leaders. Every 5 years. When you go to the polling station, you're going to sign a contract with a leader for 5 years. So that's very important to remember. 5 years is not a short time. 5 years is not a day. 5 years is 5 years. So if you squander an opportunity for 5 years, you will be behind other constituents, other countries for 5 years. So from president to MCA, please, voters, look and make a wise decision. Once you come out of the polling station with a finger, with that ink on the finger, you've signed your contract. So as you go to elect, don't look at, this person gave me 50 shillings, 100 shillings, 200 shillings. The one who gave me more is the suitable one. Very likely the one who's giving you more is the most unsuitable one. He's trying to buy you. So please make a wise decision. Elect good leaders from MCA to president. Try to understand the role of each of these leaders. Personally, I'm actually offering myself to work for you as a member of parliament for the people of Bonchari. And anybody watching all over the country, Bonchari usiyonsi asimwabeta. Kamuranje tuchora abaraya baya. Tuchora abaraya baya. Iga abantu ba Bonchari ngobasanga ki monge kura mbakolere meremo miaka thane koera morenga skina bakoleire. This is an opportunity and please get out to vote. So nimefika nikapata line ndefu. Just one single day, please, just get out to vote. It's another opportunity will come 5 years. We don't know whether you will be alive at that time. So let's get out there, vote. Vote. I'm asking that also you consider Raila Odinga for president, and also whoever the leaders. I feel like we have a potential of changing this country once and for all. But for member of parliament, for Bonchari, I really request for you guys to vote for me. That's my last message. And get out to vote. Don't lag behind. Thank you.
Thank you, Bwana Jonah Ondieki. One of the the last comment I read here is from Mochache Mugunde. Anasema, the articulate, bold, and competent leader Bonchari needs.
Thank you.
On that note, thank you for coming to AGR Studios, and we look forward to hosting you more often before elections. Kitu changu ni Suneka Primary. So I'm
Okay.
talk to me nicely.
Okay. Nijengo sera kando.
Here, you know, here we actually, instead of receiving money from contestants, here we collect money and sponsor
The support.
them.
Thank you. Just on a light note. And actually, on that note, abantu baito mole say chinze chia Michael was mole within Nairobi was chinze isuko. Please, I'm your candidate. Mon support Kamranja. Support our campaign Kamranja. Reach out, support us, whichever amount you can send us so we can go around and campaign. And the payback will give you good leadership. It is in your interest that you get good leaders. And I feel like I am that kind of leader you can actually bank on this one. Thank you.
Thank you, Bwana Jonah Ondieki. Thank you, msikilizaji, mtazamaji. We are humbled to have you, to host you this morning on AGR TV, Abakusi Global Radio. My friend from Busia, anaitwa Denzel Imsumba from Border Media, anasema kwamba ametupokea vema kabisa, and actually let me see, anasema kwamba I need to be there. That's what he has said. I need to be there. Basi. It's also vying for MCA. Thank you so much. Subscribe to our channel, Abakusi Global Radio, agrnews.co.ke. At the same time, if you want to watch AGR 24/7, get our app, Abakusi Global Radio, from the App Store, Play Store, Apple Music. You will be able to watch and listen to us 24/7. You get news every hour, advertisement, and whatever that is going on, unapata kutupata ikiwa uko na our application ya Abakusi Global Radio from the Google Play Store, at the same time from Apple Music, and social media. Like we are talking right now, we are on Twitch. Kama uko na Smart TV Diaspora, go to your Roku channels and find Abakusi Global Radio on Twitch. We will be there. Tuko huko, hakuna mahali utatukosa. And recently we are also streaming on Telegram. Mtu anauliza, how is it possible that you stream on Telegram? Welcome to AGR. This is where the impossible is being made possible by the grace of God. Till next time, God bless you and stay tuned to AGR. I'm Orino to you, Dallas Fort Worth area. Kwa niaba ya fundi wa mtambo Edwin Mokaya, video sumingo mochoge, masi on Twitter on Morning Brief, vile vile na Josiah, na kuombea uwe na siku njema, uwe na jioni njema.
Je, unahitaji kukarabati gari lako kwa njia yoyote ile? Usitie hofu. Dhibiti hali ya gari lako sasa. Ramizworks inakupa huduma bora zaidi. Hapa wanakupa huduma zote za gereji kwa magari ya kila aina.
Ramizworks tuna deal na panel beating, spray painting. Ukiwa na kazi yako, leta mali hapa, tunakufanyia kazi safi sana.
Ramizworks inapatikana mjini Kisii daraja 2 kwenye barabara kuu ya Kisii Kisumu. Imekabiliana na Delta Filling Station.
Tunashughulika na magari za accident, gari imeharibika msuni inaleta